Hello?
Ryan, are you opposed? Is it out of order if I open the public hearing now while you're talking?
No, absolutely not.
Because otherwise, you're going to talk. We're going to open the public hearing. We're going to sit here for a minute in silence since no one's here. So yeah, this I think it is, isn't it? Or maybe not.
Test.
I don't think they're on.
Hello. No.
And the light's on here.
There's lights on, but there's no static when they. Oh, no.
Well, it's seven.
I know you can hear me.
No,
so-
that's fine. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:05, and Ryan, have at it.
All right. Good evening. Again, this first rezoning application is for the Arbor Valley subdivision. So this subdivision is located on Ford Street and is currently in the process of going through grading, putting in the streets. This is going to be in 2 phases, but this rezoning application does apply to the entire subdivision. What the request is again a change from RR1 to R1B. This is still maintaining a single family status, so we're not changing it from single family to multifamily or any other kind of. The use is not changing. The reason, as stated in my staff report, the reason why the applicant has applied for this rezoning application is to allow for some additional buildable space. When this subdivision was approved originally by the city, they were allowed, instead of having both public water and public sewer, to do public water and then advanced wastewater systems. These systems are allowable in Sedgwick County, and we follow the same adopted code as Sedgwick County does. These systems do take up a significant amount of space, and so especially where the drainage, the lateral fields are, that space has to remain open space. You cannot put a shed, a pool, not even a garden is allowed in the above that area. And so allowing this to be rezoned from RR1 to R1B will reduce the building setbacks, which will allow for a larger buildable space for the future homeowners. And so this is the reason for the application. We're not changing the use. It's still single family homes that will be built in the subdivision. It just changes it to reduce that building setback. Public notices were put in the newspaper, as well as the surrounding property owners. Only received 1 phone call from a surrounding resident that received a letter, and they just had questions about what the letter was about, why they were requesting, why Mr. Marquez is requesting the rezoning. I explained to them, again, like I did tonight, why this application was submitted, and they were not opposed to this rezoning application. I'll stand for any questions. But again, Mr. Marquez does own all of these lots right now. None of them have been sold into private ownership.
Thank you, Ryan. Explain to us real quick. I think I know, but maybe for the benefit of everybody. The same size lots change the setback so you get more buildable space, right? The right of way doesn't change.
Correct.
But they can build closer to the right of way line, right?
And to the on all 4 sides.
All
yes.
4. So the setbacks change all the way around.
Yes, that is
not
correct.
Just
so the
on
front, side, and rear.
What's the value of the setbacks? I mean, so what changes? I mean, other than the fact they can build more, what's the reason for the normal setbacks?
So normally building setbacks established, it goes in part to health and safety, but it also goes to aesthetics and the overall look of a neighborhood. So for example, in our single family districts of RR1, R1A, R1B, those setbacks do vary a little bit, but what it does allows for someone to have a house and maybe a shed, and for that proximity within other structures on lots of either side or behind or in front, for you still to maintain a significant amount of open space. Whereas in our multifamily districts and higher density districts, those setbacks are reduced, and also which allows for more structures to be built within a defined parcel or a legal lot. And so with this change from RR1 to R1B, they're still going to maintain that more open feel. It just allows for, if someone does want to put in a small shed, for them to even have that option in some of the cases of these lots, to be in compliance with the requirements of these advanced wastewater systems.
Which is the primary reason here, because they're not going to be on cities.
Right, because you are correct. We're not changing the right of way. We're not changing the lot sizes or any of the property boundaries. It is strictly just to reduce slightly those building setbacks to allow for perhaps an accessory structure, depending on how they fit these in, maybe a pool or a garden space, a shed, something along those lines to be placed predominantly those are placed in the rear yard behind the house.
Thank you for enlightening us.
Absolutely.
Are there any questions? Yes.
On this parcel, how far above floodplain is it?
This subdivision is none of it's in the special flood hazard area.
Okay,
It's not in the floodplain.
and you're not even close.
I'm trying to think where the nearest is. Where's the nearest floodplain? I believe that there is some to the northeast, but none of these lots are in the floodplain or touch the floodplain either. They are all Zone X.
Yeah, just the question, of course, begs the question about septic systems and floodplain.
Yes, and we would definitely take that into consideration. Yeah, but all of these lots have a Zone X, which means it's not in the special flood hazard area. These are all Zone X lots. If you look at the floodplain maps of Valley Center that are published by FEMA, none of them are in the floodplain. They're
Okay.
all Zone X.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments? Well, no one from the public is here, so I don't think I need to ask. So it's 7:10. We'll close the public hearing. If there's no additional comments from the board, I'll make a recommendation based on city staff recommendations. I make a motion to approve RZ 2023-01.
I'll second.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next up. The next item is review of RZ 2023-02, application of Jose Marquez pursuant to City Code 1711, who's petitioning for a rezoning of land that is currently zoned RR1, which is the city's designation for suburban residential district, to R1B, which is the city's designation for a single-family residential district. Property is known as the Marquez Acres subdivision, is located north of Ford Street and west of 2850 East Ford Street. This feels a little bit similar to the first item.
Yes. So
So,
again, this- yeah.
before you go, Ryan, it's
Huh?
7:11. We'll
Oh, yeah.
open up the public hearing.
So yes, this is the same developer, and then this is south of Arbor Valley, the Arbor Valley subdivision. This area was platted back in 2020. It is 4 residential lots. Again, the request is the same as the first application that was reviewed this evening. Again, a request from RR1 to R1B to allow for some additional building space for the future homes that will be built on these lots. This subdivision, as noted on here, is located just north of Ford Street. And again, has received authorization from the city to use advanced wastewater systems. These 4 lots will utilize a public water line that is located on the north side of Ford Street. So these homes will have public water and then use the advanced wastewater systems as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions, comments?
I'll ask the same question.
Yes, these lots are also Zone X on the floodplain
Okay.
maps. Yes.
Okay. Well, it's 7:13. We'll close public hearing. Anything else to add? If not, based on city staff recommendations, I make a motion to approve RZ 2023-02.
I'll second.
Rick, we'll go with Rick.
did.
Thank you.
The motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then just a reminder for everyone with the rezoning, how this works is now that you have voted to approve these now go before city council with a rezoning ordinance. And so there will be the standard 2 readings, with the first one being at the first city council meeting in February. So I do provide a copy of the staff report that's given to you to city council and answer any questions that they may have. But the first reading of that rezoning ordinance, there'll be a separate one for each application. The first reading will take place at the first city council meeting in February.
Got it. Thank you. Anything else for us, Ryan? Old, unfinished?
Just under staff reports, it's a great honor to formally introduce someone who needs no introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway. Our city administrator, Brent Clark, would like to share some information and update on our new pool and rec facility.
Well, that'd be great. And I would like to acknowledge Mr. Clark. So normally at this at these meetings, I'd like to acknowledge dignitaries in the audience. And honestly, I meant to acknowledge you. Just like elected officials, I should have, so I apologize.
No worries. I think you did plenty during the beginning. So sorry for that.
I do mean that. I'll do better next time.
I do apologize for the technical difficulties, but we actually, YouTube is up and going. And so that is able to hear us. I was not aware that we only have one camera currently working, which is this one. And so that will be resolved shortly. But yes, exciting news and information happening on the upcoming Valley Center pool and recreation facility. Of course, that's the sales tax that we all passed back in 2020. Now, remember, the sales tax, it doesn't start getting collected until April of the following year. And so April of 21 is when we began actually collecting that sales tax, where 100% of that 1% went towards this project. It was the pool and recreation complex is the way that it was worded on the taxes. And so, of course, we wanted to wait until we had a full year collection to kind of see if the Kansas Department of Commerce and Department of Revenue, if they actually were coming in with their estimates, accurately. So come to none of our surprise, they underestimated it by a significant dollar amount. And so that project now has grown in size as far as total dollar amount tremendously because of the dollar amount that we actually do collect on an annual basis with sales tax money. And so that's kind of why we wanted to wait that first year. So from 21 till about April of 22, we wanted to give it a good 12 months to get a good average of what we're going to collect month to month. Fast forward, then in that time in 22 is when kind of May, June is when we hire some consultants, new engineers, architects, construction company to begin the next phase. Lions Park, that was part of that as well. During that process, we also did have an opportunity to purchase ground and put ground north of the middle school under option. So the city did do that. But Lions Park, as far as the existing outdoor pool, that project never changed. And so that renovation project is underway, actually just got started this past Monday. And so the city council did approve about a $900,000 renovation to the existing outdoor Lions Park pool. That will include some new guttering. So sorry for all the gutter ball fans. Sorry for all the gutter ball fans that have enjoyed it there at the pool, but new guttering system will be around the outdoor pool, as well as replacing some panels of decking and also expanding the decking on the pool deck on the north-hand side. So the fence line will get removed around the entire premises, and so we'll get a nice new black vinyl fence that will be installed, as well as get that section to the north moved north closer to the parking lot, and some beautiful seating will be there, more shade structures. The buildings will be painted. There's going to be murals on the buildings. Really a nice renovation to that pool to buy us some more time before we have to explore that. So since that was happening, the ground under option to the north came available. So we are in the process of executing that lot split, which you will have coming up hopefully here during your next meeting to have that lot split by just north of the parking lot at the middle school. We are just finalizing kind of our site design. And so this Thursday, after our committee meeting tomorrow night in this room, this Thursday, hopefully we'll have a community survey out that will show renderings, will show really good images of the new indoor aquatic and the indoor recreation facility. I have a QR code to about 7 or 8 questions, I think it is, kind of honing in and finalizing those details of the new actual 37 or 41,000 square foot building that we're actually going to build. I know it's 2023. I'm chomping at the bits as much as the next person to get this project underway. So we do hope to have shovels in the ground at that facility yet this year. Hopefully that's in that May, June timeframe is when we're actually breaking ground. If you've seen the houses being demoed and stuff up on the north-hand side, just north of the middle school parking lots. That's kind of the location we'll be building that facility. That location was ideal to relocate. One was because, Lions Park, fantastic park, wonderful area. You're landlocked. Where could you grow that facility if you put a 30,000 square foot building up, in Lions Park? There's no room to expand in that park. You can't move roads. You can, but you all know that's really not feasible. And so that's really why we moved it up to the north-hand side of the community there. So gives us plenty of room to grow and expand as the community grows and expands. So that's kind of the exciting news, is that the community survey will be coming out this Thursday. Check your emails. Please encourage everybody to take it. We're only going to have it open for a week because we are on top of SJCF and McCown Gordon to get this project moving. Questions? That was a lot.
Thank you. I had people ask and was curious, and I hadn't heard all those details, so that's good. That's good to know that the outdoor pool's going now too. So
I noticed
I know
all-
when this all started, we saw that plan that had everything in one spot. So
I noticed all that material in the parking lot right near the pool, and it's like, what is all that stuff?
Yep, they should have been sandblasting starting yesterday. Sandblasting, all that. That pool is going to open like normal in May. And so we have their guarantees that will be done by May this year. The pool will open like normal, and we shouldn't skip a beat. Yes, sir.
Can you give us a little bit of a briefing on what's happening with streets and thoroughfares in 2023? Anything going on there?
before you do that,
Yeah.
let me
'Cause I can get on a
Sorry,
tangent.
Hold that thought. Sorry, Paul. I wanted to ask one more quick question. So this will be a city-owned and run facility.
City owned, yes. Run, absolutely not. I don't know. Ryan and I and Brittany, we have plenty to do. So we really don't want to run a recreation center. And so the Valley Center Rec Commission, that partnership, they are going to operate and handle all the day-to-day. The city will own the building, own the ground, because we have to. Of course, rec commissions can't own buildings or land in the state of Kansas. And so the partnership is really between the City of Valley Center, the Valley Center Rec Commission, and the school district.
I should have finished my thought. Thank you. That's where I was headed with the rec commission, and I didn't quite get there. So what part does the school have in that? The school district, as far as being able to utilize the facility, or?
Yeah, so we're still in kind of final discussions until we have really a final set in stone layout and plan. Of course, we wanted to wait to finalize those agreements and partnerships. However, I can say that it is the goal of not only Dr. Gibson and Blake with the rec and myself to have every kid that goes through our school system to be able to swim. That's an important skill that is sometimes lost. And so, with the indoor aquatic side of this being kind of the larger portion of the overall budget in this project, because you can't expand an indoor pool. It's really hard to expand an indoor pool. So a lot of the initial funds for this sales tax is going to go towards the indoor, 6 lap lane or 8 lap lane, I can't remember, and the zero entry area and the pool and aquatic side. So that will be for, of course, our swim team. So they won't have to travel to Newton anymore. And there'll be a lot of partnerships when it comes to the school, of course, with the location, being able to utilize this facility during school days. And so, it will kind of change. If you're a member, there might be a period from, just for instance, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. where, the school will have the pool and members can't use the pool for that period of time. There also will be a childcare facility at that location in that building. So when parents or, folks are working out or swimming or what have you, then they can drop their kids off in the childcare center while they're have their time to exercise and those things. So
But in the rec commission will exist out of that building. And get rid of
now that's not saying that they'll sell and they may still have that.
but they probably would.
Probably not just offices. That one will probably remain as a dance studio or something like that, just because with the amount of budget that's going to the indoor aquatic side, they're not going to get all the things that they want in this first phase. And so that's really why it's important to
They
have
need that.
ability to expand, because there might just be one studio in there. Gym is a big expense and all those things too. So
Thank
People
you very
like it.
much.
Excuse me, one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this going to be an Olympic length indoor?
no Olympic length is very, very expensive, and we are very, very cheap. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say cheap. Sorry, cost effective.
Yeah.
Cost effective. Sorry. But no,
Just
this will be, we'll be able to host, high school meets and those types of things.
That's what I
But
was kinda-
yeah, Olympic size is unheard of. There's only one in the state.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted it, and then they told me the price, and we're like, well, that would be the entire budget. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to build anything. I mean, not even offices. It would have been just the pool.
Yeah.
I actually have a connection with the indoor, or actually an Olympic-sized pool that's in a storage unit from the trials in Omaha, but they said no. The committee said no.
They had it in storage?
Yeah, it's broken apart because they've been trying to get their referendum passed in order to build a big facility for 100-meter pool.
Oh.
Yeah, it comes with
Thank
parts.
you for that. That was good to know. If you want to go back, if nobody else got any
Before we get away from that, and then also the partnership with the school too. With that location and with it being just north of the existing parking lot for the middle school.
Perfect.
We're going to tie those together, and so there's going to be an additional, I think, 200 parking stalls. That will be a fantastic location to park when you're enjoying all the sporting events at the varsity stadium, for football and soccer and all those things. Because I'm sure all of us have been to a game here on a Friday night. It's insane parking. I mean, they double, triple park, I think, sometimes on Meridian. I mean, they're parking all the way down to McLaughlin Park in that parking lot and
They come
walking.
down
So
golf.
Yep,
also
golf,
down
yep.
by my house.
same
yeah.
thing. So I mean, to have those additional stalls there too, it was really a win-win for everybody.
Okay. Thank you for that update.
Next question is just a quick brief on what's happening with streets and thoroughfares.
Which one?
2023.
All of them.
You well just pick the big.
I had actually just asked Brent about that beforehand, so I'm glad you asked.
Okay. Brian, you're gonna have to keep me on track in case I get down some roads. 'Cause, no pun intended. All right. And and so of course everybody knows because it's been painful. Ford Street is still under construction. Ford Street from Broadway, from the new roundabout, all the way to the floodway. That should open by July. July of this year is when it will be done. Kansas Gas had to relocate a main the entire length of that project, and so it put us off actually a year. Is one of the reasons why that project is taking so long, is because of the gas main having to be moved. Hopefully, from like right now, you have both lanes open to the apartments, and so if you haven't had an opportunity to go drive on that concrete, it's really nice. You can see the right-hand turn lanes that go into both the apartment complex and Prairie Lakes. And so that's a really nice addition, is getting that right turn lane into Prairie Lakes. I have a lead foot, so I want people to get out of my way when I'm driving. And so right turn lanes are really self-serving. And so that will be all concrete. The entire project is a concrete road. The realignment on Seneca, the south side is done already. It's not open yet. But the north is just wrapping up. Evergy is just a great partner to hold us up. And so we're still waiting on them to move a pole that they've moved twice and put it in the wrong place. And so working closely with them to get that done. Hopefully between, Meridian all the way to Seneca's, hopefully we can open that stretch in the middle of February. And so hopefully middle of February, we're able to take all the way out to Seneca and go north and south on Seneca. And then they'll actually have all the way up to the top of the hill, the first hill when you're leaving town going east. They have that almost done. But then from that point to Broadway, we'll take the remainder of that time from February until about end of June, July time frame. And so that's kind of the update on Ford Street. Is there any update on that or any more questions? Sorry.
That's terrific.
That one is amazing. Actually, a wonderful partnership between Valley Center, Park City, KDOT, and Sedgwick County. So really want to thank all of our commissioners, and especially Commissioner Cruz, who really got that through for us. It saved us, I mean, millions of dollars. And so it was really fantastic. And then next road project is going to be Meridians. I said Meridians, not just Meridian, because we do have one large project that will be broken kind of into two different phases. The first one will happen right after Fall Fest. Probably that Monday after Fall Fest, we will start tearing up between Main and 5th on Meridian. That one will get a full depth replacement. I don't know if it's going to be concrete or asphalt yet until we bid the project. And, you know, KDOT, this will be a KDOT driven project because it is federal funds with WAMPO. I really want to appreciate and thank Mr. Gary Jansen for helping us through the WAMPO process on the TAC committee on allocating projects. And so that one will have an 8-foot sidewalk on the west side of the road. So as you're going down, it'll have a nice 8-foot wide. And then on the east side where it's real sporadic, you know, there's not actual continuous sidewalk on the east side. It will have one, and that one will only be 6 foot. The reason for that is just because the size of the project and the right of way of what we have to work with, there has to be some give and take. There will be some bump outs to assist with drainage because that is in our stormwater master plan to continue the main trunk line going north and connecting it to the 2 box culverts that you see on the north side of Meridian and Main. That, you know, stormwater, because there's no stormwater on the north end. If anybody's realized that, that's why we have so much water that flows towards Main Street down here, is because there is no stormwater in the ground to the north of Main. And so that will continue the main trunk line, but also it includes you know, decorative lighting, you know, streetscape, all the beautification things that people really, really like. Get rid of all the streetlight wires. I hate those wires hanging over the roads. It's OCD thing. I just want to cut them. And so those will be gone. Unfortunately, we will lose a lot of trees. So a lot of trees on that stretch are going to go. However, it's a great opportunity to plant new trees. You know, a lot of those trees are very mature. A lot of them are diseased. A lot of them are half broken. So it'll be a nice time to clean that up and to kind of plant for the next 100 years. So that's what you look for towards that project. That will start right after Fall Fest. So it gives us a good year to have that done. So we do not mess with any Fall Fest parade routes or any of that stuff because that's just asking to get fired. And so the next one.
Before you go to the next one, do you know, I'm assuming that'll just be one lane during construction. Do you know which?
Oh, no, we're going to shut her down.
We're going to close.
Absolutely.
We gotta get the people in and out.
Yeah, we're going to close it down, and there's plenty of detour routes.
Are you really going to close it? How do the people that have access off of
Yep, so it'll be local traffic only.
Well, I'm local traffic because I mean I can drive through it from one end to the other.
I don't know. Brian can, but he has a special pass. No, it'll be just for the residents that live in that area, you know, at a given moment in time. So no, we're going to shut it down fully. It costs more, as you're aware. It costs more for a project to keep that open for traffic. And so no, we're going to rip it up.
I get that. This is my opportunity, though. You know, I've been in this business for 28 years.
Long time.
People complain at me. It's going to be a big inconvenience for me, Brad.
Will be. Do you know how big of a convenience Seneca being closed is for me?
I just wanted to complain.
I can't get to Walmart. I got to go through town.
Got you. No, hey, you know what? I'm glad to hear you're closing it down. That's good. Good. Sorry, carry on.
No, you're fine. And so that one will be our main priority to get done first, and then the second phase, but in the same project, because overall it's about It's an $11 million project. So just another small one. It will be from the train tracks all the way south to city limits. So basically, if you're driving south towards Wichita, it's a white vinyl fence. Kind of the north end of that white fence there on the west side of the road is kind of where our city limits end. It does include a roundabout that will be on 69th. in Meridian. That's much needed, and it will include some really nice streetscape on that. Also included is a brand new sidewalk on the west side of the road. Due to the size and the amount of the project, we actually are not going to remove all of the curbing on the east side of the road. We're going to leave most of that and the sidewalk just due to cost, and it's still in pretty good shape. And so we're going to leave that, and also with a lot of those driveways on the east side versus the west side, it's just going to get into a more of a situation and issue than we need to. So,
So stay as 4 lanes.
yes, absolutely.
And when's that supposed to be?
That one, still figuring out the time schedule on that. Once we get a contractor on board, it will be kind of up to them. It depends upon the size of the crew. I mean, if they're a large contractor, they'll be able to do both potentially. But our main focus will be between Main and 5th, so that's open for Fall Fest. Even if they get done in April, that'd be even better. But that will be our main focus of concern. Right off the get-go, we'll be getting that section done, and then the rest of it. Probably, I'm not sure how many days until we really get that bid. So I was
So
just
this one,
guessing.
so the North Main one, you're looking at hopefully about 7 months or something like that.
Hopefully within a year.
Oh, within a
So
year.
I'll just say within a year. I just threw out
So
April.
the inconvenience about a year.
Because you want to be done
Give or
before the
take.
next fall.
Yep, absolutely. And it should be well before.
I-
But
I-
if I say that now, it's going to be a crazy season or
Well,
something.
but if
and-
you can get a lot done close.
So
Absolutely.
So have you already discussed and been in discussion with 262 with bus routes and
Yes,
stuff like that?
absolutely. Yep. And that's one of the reasons why we won't do Seneca Street between Ford and 85th until Meridians are open. I mean, we're not going to have Seneca and Meridian shut down at the same time.
That's good news. That's really cool to hear. This pavement over here is starting to really show some stresses in some areas, so it's a good time.
Yeah, and it was actually scheduled for a mill and overlay, but I postponed that due to I hate putting a mill and overlay on a road you're going to tear up in a year. Boy, that's just throwing money down the drain. And it's kind of the reason why we held off and were able to combine the two, because that one wasn't even slated on Wampo. So originally, back in 2019, just from the train track south, that was the only part of Meridian that was slated for Wampo funding. And so we had applied during the MTP for between Main and 5th. And then we said, hey, Meridians are, it's in good shape because they just did a mill and overlay 2-3 years ago. So that can we can hold off on it. And Wampo said, well, hey, if you do, we can give you more money. And then do both. And I said, oh, hey, that sounds like a good deal to me. So yeah, I know between Meridian, on Meridian between Main and 5th, it's not great right now, but just give it a few more months and then it will be well worth it. And I'd rather do the mill and overlays like we did on Sheridan and by on Interurban and up by the schools and Wheatland and all those. I would have rather done that than put money that we're going to tear up in 5 blocks.
Well, that's a much heavier traffic area anyway, so, semis and everything else comes through there.
Yep. I know. I hate having, brand new roads and then put in all the traffic on it right away. It's like, yeah. Yeah. If you look close enough, 85th Street is already showing some signs that we're going to have to start already planning for that. That's just done.
Heavy
Part
trucks.
of asphalt.
Heavy trucks.
Yes, it is. Yep. But that's why, Ford Street, that, concrete, that's our truck route. And also too, with the close price difference, $600,000-$700,000. You do that all day. You can't do a mill and overlay for that long of a stretch for that dollar amount.
That's cool. Good stuff.
So so those are the
Yeah, well, so
roads.
thank you very much for
Yeah.
giving us a brief.
Oh, another big road project. Well, I consider it big. So does anybody drive on Dexter and Ford Street? And when you go to the bottom of the earth, come back up on
Yeah,
Ford
right.
Street. Every time that I turn from the coming west and turn to go north, my traction control on my Expedition always goes off. It doesn't matter how slow I go, it just how it moves around that corner. So during the Sunflower Valley construction project, which is to the south where the city owned all that ground before, when we're doing all the storm water and all that stuff, we're tearing out that entire intersection. That intersection needs to go, and it will get leveled off a lot nicer, and those radiuses will get bumped out significantly. I was just standing out there yesterday with all the contractors, and I'm like, all right, where exactly is it? Because if it's not right, we're gonna move it, field change it right now. So you'll be able to turn a semi on that thing.
That's good.
And the same thing with Ford Street and Meridian. So when the Meridian project gets done, we're fixing the air and not having that driveway line up with Builder's First Source, and actually having for semis, having to make that awkward left to right real quick on into Builder's First Source. That will be corrected as well. And then there'll be a right turn lane off of Meridian onto Ford Street when they head east, instead of having to turn, and swing all the way to Maze to come back. They'll be able to navigate that a little bit better. So those are things that everybody notices, and I notice every time I drive too. So we're fixing things as we can. It's not going to be perfect, but hopefully it's better.
A lot of good stuff on the rise. Good, thank you for the update. That was great.
Absolutely.
Anything else, Ryan, for us?
So please go ahead and hold February 28th. That'll be our next board meeting. As Brandon had shared, we'll most likely be reviewing the lot split for that piece of property north of the middle school. So please go ahead and plan on attending that, which will be February 28th at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any items from the planning commissioners? If not, I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
You give me that second too, Jerry. Oh, okay.
Sorry. I didn't second it myself.
All right.